Wagwan creative minds, welcome back again to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Marvelous, and on this channel MarvellGreg, I share pattern drafting, sewing tutorials, and everything fashion related that make fashion easy and fun. And on today's project, we're going to be learning how to make this beautiful corporate top that you see here. This top can be worn to an office and also on a chic outing. Okay, if this sounds like what you like to learn, then do well to stick with me and I'll run you through the process of how I made this beautiful dress. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment. Let's get right into the tutorial. So I'm going to be using this Duchess fabric, but if you want yours a little silky, you can go for silk, but this is a Duchess material. So first off, we're going to be drafting, and I've gone ahead to outline my shoulder, leaving 2 inches above my starting line, just like I did my bust point and top lengths. So next, I'm going to be imputing my shoulder measurement. So this top is a cut together top, so I'll also include the length of how I want my sleeve. So I did 6.5, but you can do 7 to 8 inches. So I'm going to go down for my slope by 1 inches, and I'm just going to connect it like I did. Okay, so I'm cutting this on fold, like my pattern paper is on fold, and I'm going to be using this to cut out the back as well. So for the length of my sleeve, I went down by 7.5 inches, but I later added ½ inches for stitching allowance, so I went 7.5. so if you want yours a little bit wider, you can do 8 inches or 8.5 inches, but I did 7 inches and added ½ an inch for stitching allowance. So at my bust points, I'm going to measure my round bust measurement, then add 1 inches for ease, and that will be it. I'll also do the same for the top length. What I did there, I measured my hip circumference divided by 4, and I added 1 inches for ease. Okay, I'm going to be adding my allowances when cutting this on my fabric. So if you want yours wider, you can do 1.5 inches ease, but I'll suggest you just go by 1 inches ease, because we are going to be leaving a little bit of space at the back where you can be able to wear this top freely. So I'm just going to connect my lines like so, and I'm going to highlight for with my marker so you can see clearly. Okay, so next we're going to be working on our built up neckline. I did 3.5 inches because I didn't want it so tight. If you want yours fitted, you can do 3 inches. Okay, so then at the down part, I came down by ½ an inch, and I just connected it just to give me that slope at the top of the built up neckline, so it doesn't choke me so much. So I'm just going to be including ½ an inch for my slope. That's going to serve as my allowance when joining my shoulders. I'm going to just highlight it with my marker, and I'll connect my allowance like I did. So at the shoulder point, that ½ an inch I came down shouldn't be so sharp, so I'm just going to blend it when I'm cutting this out. So I'm just going to cut out this pattern, and we're going to use it to cut the back of our dress. Then we'll come back and modify it to cut the front piece. The front piece, we're going to be using a slash and spread method. So this is what it should look like when you're done. Now I'm just going to go ahead and place on my fabric just like I did, and our back pattern is on fold. When I mean on fold, like the back, I'm not going to be including a zipper today, so I'm just going to be cutting it just like as if I'm cutting my center front. Okay, then for my top length, I had a shortage of 2 inches, so I'm just going to be adding the 2 inches on the fabric. Then I'll add 1 inches for allowances. When I mean 2 inches, I mean I wanted the length of this top to be exactly 25 inches, but on my pattern paper I had 23 inches. So I'm just going to be adding that 2 inches length on my fabric. Then I added 1 inches for my allowance. Then on the sides I added 1 inches all the way around for my stitching allowance, and that's basically it. Yeah, so now we're going to modify this to cut out the front piece. So at the shoulder points, I'm just going to measure exactly what's at the center front there. I'm just going to measure 7 inches, and that space is where I'm going to be imputing my slash and spread, just like I'm doing here. So at this point you can slash it however times you want. You can do 2 slash, you can do 3 slash. So I'm just going to slash it 3 times. Yeah, so I'm just going to slash it like this, and I'm going to connect it to the other side, and I'm going to cut this through a little bit to the edge. Just watch the way I'm going to cut it out, you will understand. Okay, so when cutting, ensure that you don't cut it all through to the end, just a little bit. When I mean a little bit, probably 3 inches or 0.4 inches to the edge, so to enable it to spread properly the way you want it. Okay, so when I'm spreading it, I'm going to just ensure that it is cut out to the edge exactly. So this is what it should look like. So this is what it should look like when you spread it. This is how I spread mine, and I'm just going to cut it out off camera, including all my allowances, and I'll get back to you on the next step. Okay, the down part as well, I added my 2 inches and 1 inches as well. So this is what it looks like by the time I was done. So I also notched the part that I slashed. So that notched part, I'm going to be joining all the notched parts together to give me the slash that I need. And by the time I'm done, I'm just going to go ahead and give it a good press. So you can iron your slash so that it could lay flat, or you can just top stitch on it using your machine. Okay, so after arranging it like so, I'll just iron it in place. So by the time I was done ironing into place, I top stitch on it to allow it to lay flat. So now I'm going to be including my facing for the front. I'll just stitch the neck part and turn it over. So for the back part, I'm going to I also cut out an interfacing. Like the interfacing was about 8.5 inches long. It depends on how you want the back opening to be. So I'm going to be doing 7.5 inches. So I went ahead to iron my back pattern, my back piece, to get the center and the midpoint. So I'll place my facing just like I did. So I'm just going to measure how wide I want the opening to be. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch this first before I use my scissors to open it. Okay, but you can open yours before sewing, but I prefer this method because it's easier for me to get a very good result. So if you have a hook canal, you can use it, but I'm going to be using an elastic to be able to close up with a button. So I'll just stitch it through to get a neat outcome while joining my facing. So this is what it looks like by the time I was done. I've gone ahead to open it, and you can see the elastic I used. You can see how beautiful it came out. So I'll turn it over and I'll go to the ironing table and give it a good press. You can include hemming gum while pressing it so as to enable it to lay flat. So this was how it looked by the time I was done. So now I'm going to place my front piece on it like so. Then I'll flip my interfacing to the other side to close it up. This is going to give the neck a very neat look by the time you're done. I'll also do that for the other side. I'll flip it again just like I did in case you didn't get it the first time, and I'll go ahead and close up my shoulders. So when I was done, this is what it looks like. You can see how beautiful our top is already coming out, I'm going to be using these buttons. I'm going to be using 2 of this just on those points that I place them on later on. So next I'm going to go ahead and close up the sleeve part first. After closing up the sleeve part, I'll give it a good press, and I'll close up the all other sides as well. I'm going to go ahead and iron by the time I'm done, and this is what it looks like. Okay, so the edge, just ensure that you fold it in before closing it to get a neat outcome. I hope you learned something from this tutorial. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next. Bye.